Hello students, have a good day to all. In the previous session, we have learned how the Europeans came to India and how the Britishers began to expand their territories in different parts of India. So today we are going to learn about the next three topics: Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, and the expansion of the Company rule. First we learn about the Battle of Plassey. With the permission of Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, the Britishers expanded their trade centers in Bengal also. Further, they got permission from Aurangzeb to trade without paying any taxes. Due to this reason, the rulers of Bengal always came in conflict with the British East India Company. When Siraj-ud-Dowla became the ruler of Bengal, the conflicts between the Nawab and East India Company reached at its extreme point. During this time, the East India Company constructed a long wall around their trade center in Kolkata under the pretext of security reasons. They did it without taking any permission from the Nawab. The Nawab got annoyed with this act of East India Company and he gave orders to destroy the fortress. When this news of demolition reached in Madras, a small army under the leadership of Robert Clive reached Bengal in order to help the Kolkata trade center. When they fought each other for the first time, the strong army of East India Company was defeated, and Robert Clive realized that it was not easy to defeat the army of Nawab. So he thought of some fraudulent measures. Thus, he bribed the commander-in-chief of the Nawab's army, Mir Jafar. Thus, Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dowla, and Seth Amichand, one of the Bengal merchant, involved in the conspiracy that was planned by Robert Clive against Siraj-ud-Dowla. Thus, the battle was declared and it was fought on 23rd June 1757 AD. As per the conspiracy, Mir Jafar lost the battle and thus Siraj-ud-Dowla was defeated in that battle. The battle ended just within half day. The battle was a turning point in the history of India. Siraj-ud-Dowla was murdered, and as per the promise made by Robert Clive, Mir Jafar was made the next Nawab. But he was just like a puppet in the hands of Britishers. With Battle of Plassey, the East India Company's rule began in India and they got control of 24 Parganas in Bengal. 24 Parganas was an administrative unit or a district in the southern part of West Bengal. Now we move on to the next topic, Battle of Buxar. I told you that Mir Jafar was just an obedient puppet of British East India Company. Under different pretexts, the company began to accumulate a lot of wealth from Mir Jafar. With the passing of time, due to their greed to gain more power and wealth, they removed Mir Jafar from the throne of Bengal and Mir Qasim was made the next Nawab. But when Mir Qasim also came in conflict with East India Company, he was removed from the post of Nawab and again Mir Jafar was made the Nawab of Bengal. During this time, Mir Qasim took shelter in the palace of Nawab of Awadh. There he met the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam also. Thus, all three of them decided to join hands to fight against the East India Company unitedly. And thus, a war was declared against British East India Company. So, at Buxar, the united army of Mir Qasim, Nawab of Awadh and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam fought against the British East India Company on 22nd October 1764. But ultimately, the united army of three was defeated by the Britishers and thus the East India Company got Diwani rights in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Diwani rights means the right to collect revenue. Thus, the income of these places reached in the hands of the Britishers and the Nawab got all the responsibilities of people without any income. That's all about Battle of Buxar. Now we just move on to the next topic, expansion of the company rule. The British Parliament passed an act in the year 1773 AD. That act was called Regulating Act. It was started to overhaul the management of East India Company's rule in India. According to that act, the governor of Bengal was made the Governor General, and all the trade and political activities were brought under the control of this Governor General. And then the governors of other provinces like Mumbai and Madras and their councils were also brought under the control of this Governor General. Thus, Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of India, and during his time, the first Maratha War and the second Mysore War with Hyder Ali were fought. Marathas and Mysore powers were very strong and they always came in conflict with British East India Company. Thus, these two powers were a big threat for the Britishers. After Warren Hastings, Cornwallis became the Governor General of India. During the time of Cornwallis, the third Mysore War took place with Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan was the most famous ruler of Mysore and he was popularly known as Tiger of Mysore. He was a very brave and courageous ruler of Mysore. At this time, the company made friendly relations with Marathas and the Nizam with an objective to defeat Tipu Sultan. Thus, Tipu Sultan was defeated in this battle and he had to accept the Treaty of East India Company. After Cornwallis, Sir John Shore became the Governor General. But due to his rigid policies, the company's fame began to decrease. And again, the Marathas became the strongest power in India. So after Sir John Shore, Lord Wellesley became the Governor General and the responsibility of making East India Company again a supreme power came onto the shoulder of Lord Wellesley. So he introduced a new policy in India that was subsidiary alliance system. Thus, Wellesley was making all efforts to make East India Company the supreme power in India. Dear students, let me wind up this session here today. We will continue this chapter in the next session. Until we meet again, take care. Bye.